All right, let's talk about something we've all felt. You know that moment, you're completely alone, maybe it's late at night, everything's quiet, and then suddenly you just feel it. A presence. That prickle on the back of your neck. You whip your head around and, of course, there's no one there. So today, we're going to unpack that exact feeling. We're going to dive into the psychology of why you feel watched when you are, for all intents and purposes, totally alone.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? That specific sensation. A pair of invisible eyes boring into you. It is so unnerving. And it's way deeper than just, being scared of the dark. So in this explainer, we're going to pull that eerie feeling apart, piece by piece, and figure out what is actually happening inside your head.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back. I mean, way back. Thousands and thousands of years. Think about our earliest ancestors. They weren't sitting at the top of the food chain like we are. For them, being constantly on alert wasn't a choice. It was the only way to stay alive.
And that brings us to this key concept right here, hypervigilance. It's basically your brain's ancient alarm system. Imagine it's just permanently switched on, always scanning, always looking for any potential threat. It's this constant state of high alert that literally kept our ancestors from ending up as, a midnight snack for some predator.
Now here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. This ancient wiring, it hasn't disappeared. Not at all. It's not some dusty old relic. That exact same survival code, that same piece of software that kept early humans alive out on the plains, is still running in the background of your brain, right this second.
So, okay, we've got this general alertness thing down. But how does that transform into that very specific, very creepy feeling of being watched? Like by a person or, something else? Well, the answer is all about how your brain is literally hardwired to look for one thing in particular: faces.
Yep, you heard that right. Your brain has this whole dedicated system, a face detection network. Think of it like a highly specialized team whose only job 24/7 is to scan the world for faces. And even more specifically, to find eyes that might be looking back at you.
And how fast is this system? Get this. It can flag a potential face in just 100 milliseconds. That is literally faster than you can form a conscious thought. It's just bang. And this incredible hypersensitivity, that's exactly why you see faces in things like clouds, or in the wood grain of a door, or, in the shadows of a dark room. Your brain is just constantly, desperately searching.
And this is where it all comes together. So, what your eyes actually see, especially out in your peripheral vision, is not very clear at all. It's just low-res, blurry shapes and shadows. But your brain, it gets that fuzzy data, and thanks to that ancient survival code, it doesn't wait for more information. It immediately fills in the blanks with the absolute worst-case scenario. It thinks better safe than sorry and turns that blurry shape into a figure, a face, a watcher.
Okay, but this raises a really big question, right? If this whole system is running all the time, why does that creepy feeling get so much worse, so much more intense when we're alone?
Well, psychologists actually have a name for it, the isolation effect. Think about it. When you're all by yourself, your brain knows there's no safety in numbers. There's no one to watch your back. So what does it do? It cranks that threat detection system up to 11. Its new default setting is assume danger until proven safe.
And when that happens, your whole world changes. Every little sound becomes razor sharp. The shadows in the corner of the room seem to get darker, to stretch out. Even the silence itself starts to feel loud, like it's pressing in on you. It's in that space that fear just slips through the cracks. And this is especially true late at night, right? When your brain is kind of in that foggy state between being awake and asleep. That's prime time. So, this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the wildest part. We know your brain is primed for threats, and we know being alone cranks that up. But it turns out your mind can take things one giant, terrifying step further.
So just how powerful are we talking here? Can your mind actually create the feeling of a presence, literally out of thin air, when there is absolutely positively nothing there? Well, some scientists decided to put that exact question to the test, and what they found is pretty mind-blowing.
So check this out. In one study, they just put people into a completely dark, silent room and left them alone. And look at these numbers. They're just astounding. 40%, almost half of the people, reported feeling a presence in the room with them. 27% said they heard breathing that wasn't theirs, and almost 20% were so completely convinced that they actually turned around, swearing someone was standing right there. And the crazy part? There was never, ever anyone else in the room.
And that leads us to this incredible bottom line. For your brain, a fear you imagine is the same as a fear you experience. The fear itself can become so intense that your mind literally invents the physical sensation of a presence just to have something to be afraid of. The watcher isn't causing the fear. The fear is creating the watcher.
So the next time you get that chill down your spine, that feeling that you're not alone in an empty house, just remember what's really going on. It's not a ghost. It's not some monster in the closet. It's the echo of a million years of survival, an absolutely incredible, if, terrifying act of self-preservation cooked up by your own amazing ancient brain.
It kind of reframes the whole experience, doesn't it? It's not a haunting, it's just your biology. And that really leaves you with one last thing to chew on. If your brain can conjure up an entire invisible person to keep you safe, what other ancient instincts are quietly pulling the strings in your life completely without your permission?